If you thought the MAGA victories over the weekend were exciting here at home, wait until you see how the political right has been sweeping elections throughout the world over the last few days. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, make sure, if you would, to share this video with friends and family. We are once again being throttled by big tech, so I need your help to get the hopeful message of this channel out to as many people as possible. So let's start down under, all the way over in New Zealand, where voters delivered a brutal repudiation of their woke left Liberal Party that governed their nation for the past 6 years. The center-right National Party crushed their Liberal counterparts over the weekend in a stunning electoral landslide. The voters in New Zealand have elected a solid Christian conservative for their new Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon, and as such, they overwhelmingly repudiated the leftist nightmare that took over their nation so long ago. Now, this electoral implosion was telegraphed several months back with the sudden resignation of New Zealand's far-left Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. As many of you may recall, Jacinda Ardern shocked the world by suddenly announcing her resignation as Prime Minister, which represented an astonishing fall for this rapidly rising international star for the legacy media. We have to remember that Ardern was nothing short of a beacon of hope among those on the left who had been totally destabilized by the election of Donald Trump and the passage of the Brexit referendum back in 2016. You have to understand the double whammy of Brexit and Trump. It was an existential crisis for the left, and leftist politicians like Ardern of New Zealand, they were the answer to this existential crisis. They were going to deliberately create the political and economic conditions that would never, ever, ever allow something like a Trump or a Brexit to happen again. And yet, despite all of the fanfare that Ardern received from the fawning international media, she politically collapsed. She fell victim to the same degenerating conditions that Biden is falling victim to. Inflation, a stuttering economy, rising crime, as well as her gutting the agricultural industry there, which is the crown jewel of New Zealand's economy. And all that pulled the mask off of this absurd notion that her politics were anything worthy of maintaining, let alone emulating. And so politically, she just fell apart. And even the leftist Guardian was asking back then, who's next? Right? She was the first international leader to fall after the disastrous effects of her draconian COVID policies became apparent. But many pundits recognized she would not be the last. Well, as of this weekend, her party has now collapsed. The Liberals are officially gone from power in New Zealand as the nation turned overwhelmingly right. Next, from New Zealand, let's hop on over to Australia, where voters overwhelmingly rejected what many believe to be a blatantly anti-white woke referendum that sought to alter their constitution to what they called a, quote, indigenous voice to their national constitution. What such a voice actually entails has remained vague over the last several months, but the gist appears to have been a full recognition of indigenous peoples and their constitution, along with an advisory body comprised of indigenous peoples to advise the federal government on issues that affect them. But the No campaign largely saw the effort as little more than an attempt to wokeify the Australian Constitution. And it turns out they were very successful. It was a decisive turnout with a clear majority in all 6 of Australia's states voting against the resolution. The way Australia's system works is 4 of their 6 states would need to have voted for the resolution along with a national majority. Obviously, that didn't even come close to happening, not at any level whatsoever. Australians were not interested in the least for anything exemplifying what scholars call emancipatory politics, or what's more commonly referred to as cultural Marxism enshrined in their constitution. But if you thought what happened down under was exciting, wait until you see what's happening in Europe. It's going to absolutely make your day. But first, gang, before we do anything else, we do have a very concerning development that's happening with regard to central bank digital currencies. Now, you may have noticed that up until now, the digital dollar, the central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, have been little more than just headlines at this point. But right now, things are developing at an alarmingly rapid pace. It started with a sweeping executive order from the Biden administration, and now central banks are even hiring for their development. And look, this is the deal. A digital dollar, when all is said and done, means centralized control of your money. It could be used to track your purchases, control what you buy. It could be even used to seize or freeze your assets like we saw with the Freedom Convoy. That's why it is so critical you protect your money with precious metals like gold and silver. I've partnered with the top-rated precious metals company, Goldco, that have helped patriots move over $1 billion into the timeless value of gold and silver. And gang, now it's your turn. Right now, they're giving you up to $10,000 in free silver while supply lasts. Plus, all qualified callers this week will receive a free Ronald Reagan silver coin. So don't wait. Click on that link below right now and do what countless patriots are doing to make sure bumbling Biden never, ever has control over all your money. Go to the link below to learn how you can get started today. It looks like the Greens are finally collapsing in Europe. We had 2 elections the week before last, where voters overwhelmingly turned against their Green parties. In Germany, the so-called far-right, radical right, ultra-conservative AfD, or the Alternative for Deutschland, won a huge election and crushed their far-left Green party in the regions of Hesse and Bavaria. They came in 2nd and 3rd, respectively, and the reason these elections were so important is that the AfD has finally made inroads with the wealthier states in Germany. They're huge in Eastern Germany, so they're the #1 party there because Eastern Europeans are far more nationalist populist than their globalist Western counterparts. But now the AfD is gaining ground in Western Germany, so that they're basically now going mainstream. And the 2 elections were a huge blow to the woke Chancellor Olaf Scholz left-wing-led national coalition, which is just unraveling. They've been trying to starve Germany with a radical green agenda, so it's pretty clear that voters there want nothing more to do with that. Also on the same day in Luxembourg, their Green coalition took a shellacking in their national elections. Luxembourg's center-right Christian Social People's Party won in a blowout election there and are now in talks to form a governing coalition that once again completely repudiates their woke leftist Green government. Now, the one ambiguous holdout of this pattern is Poland, where the right-wing Law and Justice Party won the most votes. They won with nearly 40% of the vote, but they've fallen short of a majority. And it looks like, unfortunately, the pro-EU, pro-green leftist parties are going to be able to form a governing coalition. So that's a huge disappointment coming out of Poland. I have a feeling this is super temporary. The Poles are very, very conservative. They may have wanted to send a message to PIF, especially regarding Ukraine, the Law and Justice Party there, to get their act together. Also, another right-wing party, what's called the Coalition Party, they're pushing Polish politics way even further to the nationalist right. So we'll see if PIS and the Coalition Party can get a clear majority back in a couple of years. So with the exception of the disappointing results in Poland, we've had a massive swing to the right all over the world in these last 2 weeks. Some good stuff. Are you ready to join the resistance? Because I'm leading a group of dedicated, courageous patriots who can lead a spearhead into the heart of the secular globalist establishment. We punished Bud Light and Target, driven CNN and the legacy media to near bankruptcy, forced BlackRock to backtrack on ESG, and now we're seeing our conservative-dominated Supreme Court ending affirmative action and protecting religious liberty. In my Insiders Club, I show you concrete steps to take locally and online that will only keep this mass uprising going until the battle is won. Don't wait. Click the link in my description below and join my Courageous Patriots Insiders Club today.